Okay, we've got to talk about the Nazca mummies. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I'll talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, there's been apparently a huge backlash against Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp for their platforming disinformation about the Nazca mummies. So much so that Jeremy and George both have had to reply. And it's interesting to kind of hear the differences in their replies. So we'll hear from Jeremy first and then George Knapp. But here's what Jeremy had to say.
We had people on our show last week. So first of all, our friend Jesse Michaels did this amazing YouTube documentary about these tridactyl beings. And, you know, I've had a bias all along from the beginning because of how I was approached about it. But man, when he did that documentary, it just opened my mind. We had people on last week who have a very different hypothesis. They're saying that the finger structures are off, that this is a hoax. We gave them a platform to say what they had to say because I felt it very compelling. They were very clear on it. Man, we got railed for it. People wanted to believe with not even looking at the evidence. We got railed that we're like disinformation agents. No, man, we're having people on who have ideas that we think are valuable and should be amplified. That's it. Let the evidence fall where it does. And I think James does a really good job at that, is he presents everything. He brings people forward. I'm excited for what he's doing.
Okay, I mean, so that's interesting that he believes this information should be amplified. This disinformation, and I've made multiple videos showing how it's disinformation, and that James, the guy he's talking about, is actually spewing disinformation, showing bogus X-rays that are not, well developed, and giving bad takes on just every single aspect of his presentation, like possibly deliberately bad takes on everything, and not actually looking at the evidence. It's just hilarious, but a lot of people viewed this, and it's really colored in the conversation on the Nazca mummies, unfortunately. But a lot of people weren't buying it, and they responded very vocally to George and Jeremy, forcing them to react. We're going to hear from George in a minute, but there we go. Jeremy saying, yeah, he had an agenda going into this, and B, he wanted to amplify what I consider the disinformation. Okay, now here's what George had to say. He has a slightly more open mind, it seems.
I'll issue one last comment about our show previously, a week ago, about the tridactyls, the mummies. I don't have a dog in that fight. I remain open-minded on it. I have no idea where the truth lies. And as we said in that episode, look, we let other people pursue that. We can't do every story. But these people are professionals, PhDs. They shared with us very specific objections they have to the legitimacy of the evidence provided so far. If people want to respond to that, not by responding and attacking them, calling them debunkers or hoaxsters or government agents, answer the arguments that they raised. Get specific. That's what I want to see. And if the evidence that comes forward and the arguments that come forward next are compelling, I'm perfectly willing to be convinced either way. My mind is open. But just because we cover it and allow people to raise the objections that they did does not mean that we will never believe it, don't accept it, and we think it's all a complete hoax. It's not that way. At least it's not for me.
Okay, well, that's good. George does seem to have a more open mind. At the same time, he did assist Jeremy in platforming this clearly disinformation, again, in my mind. And I have answered him, the disinformation point by point as much as I have time to do. Debunking the debunks on the hands and the feet, and showing how they are not, first of all, they're wrong about that and don't seem to be genuine in their debunks. But also they're not even looking at the totality of the evidence, that we're not just looking at hands and feet, which again, they're not looking at honestly, seemingly, but Maria is an entire being. There's no part of her that is human. She may have some human DNA. I think she does. But there's no part of her that could be taken from a human. Her arms and legs are too long. Her rib cage, everything is different. Her head is a different shape. Her face sticks out. She has a bigger brain than humans do. She has reptilian fingerprints. She doesn't have a navel. Who doesn't have a navel? It's just the totality of this is very non-human. And of course, she is just one amazing specimen. And we have so many others, like Montserrat, who has a tridactyl fetus inside a tridactyl mother. Again, you can't fake this stuff, but you can fake the debunkings. And they platformed it. But getting into some of the debunks of the debunks, per Nazca Mummies, who is putting up some of the counter-arguments from scientists who have actually studied the mummies. From Dr. Rios Lopez, the number of fingers of the Maria mummy in the hands as well as in the feet was evaluated through studies in radiography in situ, showing no evidence of cuts, sutures, or manipulation that showed any alteration in these limbs. This mummy of tridactyl characteristics present in each finger 5 phalanges in the hand, which has a length of 17 centimeters, as confirmed by the radiologist Raimundo Salas. In addition, there is a symmetrical harmony between the union of the wrist with the fingers, and there is no palm. These guys don't have palms. Again, you have to look at the totality of these beings. There's no part of them that is human. They don't have freaking palms. It's crazy. There's no palm. There is no metacarpal bones. The mummy presents an evolutionary modification in the distal fingers of the foot, as well as the presence of rounded pillows with parallel and horizontally distributed grooves and or fingerprints, which refutes the working hypothesis of the paleontologist Dr. Salas Gismondi, stating that it only has 4 phalanges, the 3 fingers of which are the result of amputating the lateral fingers, thumb and pinky, which is what, the guy on Weaponized is saying, and, Incredible Histories and other places. As well as cutting the palm of the hand in between the central fingers to expose the metacarpal bones and give the sensation of being longer. The same procedure would have been done also in the feet, which is totally false. So there you go. People who have actually examined the mummies saying, yeah, this is bunk. This is BS. They are unaltered. Dr. John McDowell, similarly, award-winning expert in forensics, says that the hands and feet are unaltered and says, yeah, there's some non-human beings among the Nazca mummies. That's about as far as he's willing to go, but that's pretty far. Then we have Dr. Roger Zuniga talking about this as well.
Because reality is reality. Reality cannot be hidden. Do what they do, say what they say. Objective reality is undeniable. It is undeniable.
Objective reality is undeniable. Just look at the evidence, look at the research. Don't listen to some loud voices with lazy opinions or completely dishonest opinions who aren't actually looking at the evidence and are just making crap up, basically. It's just so frustrating. Let's see. Yeah, but it's actually had some good results because Gonzalo Chavez says, according to Google Analytics, since the release of the Jeremy Corbell interview, tridactyls.org has received roughly 1,900 users and about 9,600 total events. This is great because people will be able to test the claims themselves. Based on user behavior, Montserrat is by far the most viewed and explored specimen, followed closely by Hoyce. Yeah, well, that's awesome. Montserrat definitely deserves a lot of attention. An amazing specimen. It has the golden implant in her forehead. Very well preserved being, again with a tridactyl fetus inside her, as well as other implants. An incredible specimen. Now on the implants, I saw a recent post by Gonzalo, if I can find it, showing that the implants might actually have some healing properties. Let me find that. Here we go. Today I learned something remarkable about the implants found on the tridactyl beings, both the 60 centimeter and human-like tridactyls. These devices, which were placed directly over areas of injury, show clear evidence of stimulating bone growth. That level of biological integration is beyond what modern science can achieve today. Yes, these implants are in specimens that are more than 1,700 years old. The implications are extraordinary. Indeed, they are. So there you go, a possible explanation for at least some of the implants. And I've gone over, some of them before. One of them is placed over the clavicle of one of the little beings, I think Josephina, but correct me if I'm wrong, who had a broken clavicle because of some injury related to a cat. Unclear what kind of cat. I'm thinking a cougar or a bobcat or something, which would have been a pretty big predator for those little guys. And she was apparently injured by this and had a broken clavicle, and an implant was put over that. And Gonzalo is saying there is some evidence to indicate, these implants do have healing properties, which is amazing. Now, I don't know if that explains all of the implants. I don't think it does. I don't think that explains why you would have a big golden disc in your head, as well as many other of the implants. So I think the implants probably have multiple uses. But I do think it's really interesting that the little guys could be, not only have access to this high technology, but also be menaced by a bobcat or whatever. Again, if they have access to high technology, why can't they use it to defend themselves? Are they the ones that put in these implants, or did somebody else, possibly their creators that do have access to more high technology, put those implants in? Really interesting. And let's see, what else do we have here? Yeah, we have University San Luis Gonzaga of Icaz. The University of Icaz professor, Roger Zuniga, who we just heard from, also talking about how Albert is a single organism. And I've talked about this multiple times. The DNA tests have been taken from multiple different places on Albert and confirmed to be the same samples, not cobbled together body parts. Again, there's no break in the skin of these beings showing where there could be any insertions or alterations. But just in case there's some sneaky cut somewhere, they did these tests confirming that, it's all one being. So then you have so much evidence. I mean, just all around the world, but especially in Peru, but just all over. The humans were interacting with these beings. The tridactyl beings with weird features are depicted in their art time after time. And, other beings as well. There may be depictions of the gremlins and various other beings depicted in the art of the peoples of the ancient world who seem to have been interacting with these guys. Possibly quite often. The Nazca mummies, the beings, seem to have been interred with the dead of the Nazca humans, by the Nazca humans. So if they're being interred with the human dead, to me that speaks to a very close interaction and a familiarity and maybe even a love between the peoples. I don't know. But there you go. I wanted to share that with you. Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp forced to, make statements because of the backlash. Gonzalo Chavez talking about his site getting a lot of hits actually because of all of this. And the evidence continues to point in the direction of these beings being legitimate, whole, and non-human beings. Even though some people don't want to admit that. But let me know what you guys think about it all in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. Love to see you guys there. If you want to support the channel in a bigger way, grab a coffee mug or a t-shirt. I'm a novelist. If you like science fiction, fantasy, or horror books, check out some of my books. See the links below. You can become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars. And I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.